study circle. And besides these four IITs, in Kharagpur, now and then we have some activity. It's not very regular, but it is there. And also in Indian Institute of Sciences in ISC, we have a very active study circle around 16, 17 years. It's going on. So this is something which was very, very required. I'm happy that you have taken initiative and done it. My congratulations to all of you.
Yeah, I think we can start the session now. I'll just quickly introduce Swamiji to our audience. So, Swami Atmashraddhananda is a monk of Ramakrishna Mission. He joined the Ramakrishna Monastic Order in 1989 at its Bangalore center. After spending 9 years at Bangalore and Mysore, and 2 years at Belur Mutt, which is the headquarter of the order, he spent over 12 years at the Ramakrishna Mutt, Chennai, where he edited the English monthly of the order titled Vedanta Kesari and the spiritual guide for Vedanta Study Circle IIT Madras. During this period, he spoke on invitation on the message of Swami Vivekananda and Vedanta across different places in India. And after spending 2 years at Belur Mutt as one of the acharyas for brahmacharis, since 2018, he has been serving as the head of Ramakrishna Mission Center in Kanpur, that is Uttar Pradesh. He is also spiritual guide for the Vivekananda Samiti IIT Kanpur and conducts a weekly meditation and the study classes for that Samiti. And he has edited and compiled over 15 books and still continues to edit and author various magazines of the Ramakrishna Mission. So, Swamiji, please guide us.
Thank you, Mukul. Thank you, Moinak. Thank you to all others who are present here. My greetings to you all. So as I said before you gave the introduction, that it's a matter of great joy and satisfaction that you have a session uh, like this. You have formed a group which is in the need of the hour, very much in need of the hour. That sometimes we come across people who accidentally read Vivekananda's teachings and they say, "Oh, how I missed all these in for so long. I'm glad that I finally got it." I remember in one of the sessions in IIT Madras, we always used to have some question and answer session. And after we had a lecture on mind, the the perspective of yoga, mind from the perspective of yoga, and of course Vedanta. So mind and its control. So one of the students he got up and he had a very interesting observation. He said, "I feel very sad that I did not know all this when I was in school. If I had known them, I would have actually been free from many issues which troubled me, which made my life so miserable otherwise. But anyway, I'm happy that now I know these things and I'll be able to do much better." So from that angle also, knowing Swamiji's teachings and reading about whatever he has said, it's really very fantastic. Now the subject that we have chosen for this evening's discussion is the role of spirituality in student life. Why in student life only? It's there throughout life. But student life is a special life. It's a special period of life. It is said that it is the golden period when you absorb many things. You can absorb a lot of knowledge. You see, just the boy who is born the other day, through the process of education, he becomes something. He could be a doctor or a pilot or an engineer or a financial expert. And maybe you hand over the things to him to do. When you go by a flight, you have a young man, you prefer the young man, not very old person, to fly the flight, to navigate. So, youth is something which is a period of learning. But we know there is all many other things related to youth also. Youth is also time when we can lose our uh, track and it may take quite some time to return to our track. So, by track, I mean the way we should live our life, our attitudes, our approach, our inner strength to digest various experiences in life. Because life consists of that. It consists of so many types of negative, positive experiences. So if we think the only positive things will come my way, and I will not face any frustration, I will not face any failure, that's not the right view of life. We'll have to face all of them. At the same time, we need not think that I'll be not successful at all. I will be always a failure. No, that also we can become successful and we should try to, but at that same time, this success need not sit on our head. It need not swell our head. As someone very rightly said, you should not take success to your head and failure to your heart. So it's okay if you just allow these experiences to make you into a better human being. There is a another aspect of this subject. Before I actually get into this, I'll just refer to this. One is some people say spirituality. Well, we'll postpone to old age. Now we are young. Let us enjoy. Maja karo. You enjoy life. So spirituality is something which you actually don't enjoy. You postpone it to say, oh, when I'll become old, I've seen my grandfather doing some prayer. He is now the late 70s or 80s, and now he's not active. He's retired, so he is not taking to reading the Bhagavad Gita. And it's okay for him. But I am young. Some people say that I am young. I have a dashing. I want to become successful. I want to attain many things. So why bring these things into my life? That's some people's view. There is a very interesting verse in traditionally it has come from the Sanskrit tradition. It is called it's like this: Yuvaiva dharmashila syat. You should become dharmashila when you are young. Ko hi janati kada mrityu kalo bhavishyati. Who knows whether you will actually uh, see what is beyond youth, because that may happen anytime. So why postpone our spiritual aspiration? Why we say, oh, spirituality is something we'll have it later in life. Now, if you also and see from another angle, in the Taittiriya Upanishad, it is referred to, and Swami Vivekananda has referred to it in this way. He says, when we go to meet a friend, we generally carry something for him as a gift. We might carry, let's say, some fruit. So let us carry something which is fresh, like flowers are fresh, fruits are fresh. As a mark of our love and respect, we carry it to the friend. In same way, when you are fresh in body and mind, not old, when our body is, it has like it has flowered, it has blossomed. When you are in your 20s, it has blossomed, and your mind has blossomed. Why not give it a higher turn? Why not offer it to the higher reality, higher pursuits? So I think this is a very good perspective on the role of spirituality. Another thing about role of spirituality for student life is the question comes: what is spirituality? Why we use the word spirituality? I'll directly enter into what the Bhagavad Gita says about it. The term used in the Bhagavad Gita is adhyatmika. So, what is adhyatmika? What is that? Is, you may say, something which we say often in Hindi. वो बड़ा आध्यात्मिक व्यक्ति है. We say that. So, what is adhyatmika? In the Bhagavad Gita, it says that which is within us. So, what is within us? That's another question. So, you have something which is without you, which is outside you. So we perceive the external world through our senses, and when we start our study of the external world, we get into the world of science. It is sensory uh, experiences. We enhance them. For instance, if uh, I want to see something very minutely, I develop another instrument called microscope. Or I want to see something distantly, I have another instrument called telescope. It's basically enhancing my power of seeing. So likewise, we develop many instruments to study the phenomena which our senses perceive, and we want to know the truth of that. So science is something which very much attracts the thinking mind, and it is a so natural thing that a person should be drawn towards science if he has that. But problem comes when we say, "Oh, science ends there." Why not science also of the human beings? Who am I? This is also a scientific question. Why only say what is the sun, what is moon, what is atom, what is a neuron? Yes, all that is to be inquired into. But what about who is asking all these questions? Who is that I? Who is that saying, "Oh, what are all these things I want to know?" So when we enter into that, that's a speciality of the Indian tradition, particularly, where we have the idea of introspection. So we don't have any quarrel with science. We don't have anything saying science is wrong. No, science has its own view. And here, actually, science stops at that. It says that, look, we know how to make life good. We can add a lot of technology to your life, day-to-day life. We can also give you a lot of gadgets. We can increase speed. You can travel faster. You can communicate faster. But when it comes to how to make you happy and what will happen to you after you die, we don't have an answer. We don't have an answer because our answers are limited. It is there that Swami Vivekananda, in his famous lecture in Jnana Yoga, he says man begins with this question. He sometimes may be affected by some very deep traumatic experience. Maybe somebody whom he knew or who is related to him passes away. It could be somebody very near and dear, or he himself has escaped a very traumatic experience involving death. So he asked the question, "No, what is life?" But most people will not go beyond at some point. They will ask this question, but then other things will slowly come and take their place. But if a person persists in that, he comes to the solution, and this is where we should pay attention to Swami Vivekananda's teachings, where he says that at the end of all this struggle, what we find is that essentially each one of us is divine. We are not just this body which is mortal, which is born, which grows, which ages, which declines, and which ends. It's just like an instrument that we have. Even mind, the mind is also something which is not permanent. So there is something which is the basis of these two, or which is beyond these two, and that is the divine present in all of us. So when we are dealing with the divine, that means we are adhyatmic, we are spiritual. We are dealing with the spirit. So spirit, of course, could mean a ghost also. I don't mean that here. Spirit means the divinity within us, consciousness in us. So the study of consciousness and how we make our body and mind, in which, let's say, this consciousness dwells. We make both of them quite good, quite competent, strong to perceive that divinity within us. Because we have to perceive that divinity through our mind, of course, not with this present mind, which is restless, which is pleasure stricken, which is attached, which has jealousies, anger, lust, greed. With this mind, it is not possible to see that. But if the mind is purified through certain practices, we can surely find our divine nature. So, with this introduction to what we call as spirituality, I may also refer to what Swamiji says as the very, very essence of all spirituality. He says each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest this divinity, external and internal, by controlling our nature, external and internal. And he says, do this either by work or worship or psychic control or philosophy, by one or two or all of these and become free. This is the whole of religion, uh, temples, dogmas, rituals. They're only secondary details. They're secondary details. The primary detail is that we have to discover that potential divinity in us. So spirituality is, first of all, that another place Swamiji says that uh, what is religion and what is education? He says education, religion is the manifestation of divinity already in man. So by divinity, of course, it's meant consciousness, uh, uncaused joy, peace. All that is meant by divinity is joy in us, present in joy. We think pleasure means joy. Pleasure is not joy. Pleasure is something we get because something which we liked, we found that we liked ice cream or we liked some pizza. So we think, oh, now I've got it. So the pleasure of eating or having it, fine. But that's a pleasure. But we are not speaking of pleasure. We are speaking of joy, the inner satisfaction, which is lasting, which is true, which is genuine. So that's not to be found only in the senses. So spirituality is manifesting the divinity within us. That's the philosophical side of it. Now comes to the practical side. In practical side, when a person, let's say particularly a student, by student we mean a young person. Though we remain student all our life, we keep learning, we keep revising what we have learned, we keep updating ourselves. New digits, new gadgets come into our life. We have to learn how to use them. New situations come, and new things about ourselves we have to learn. So we keep learning. But here I am specifically referring to the student life of a young man or young woman. So when you take it up, uh, that as a young person, how this philosophical concept of spirituality can be put into practice, I'll come to what we might call as a 5 point program, a very practical approach to that, a very 5 point program. So this program is not something you find on somebody has drawn it. It's just an understanding. It's just a presentation. You could make it 6 points. You could make it 4 points. But let's, for the sake of understanding, say it's a 5 point program. So the first point, which means that you'll have to how to practice this ideal of spirituality, is to have certain practices and values. So one of them, the first practice I would refer to, is that we must have a regular spiritual reading, because we are students very quick to read, we are quick to find things. So a regular spiritual reading, but there's a small footnote to it. Please read only that which is authentic. Thanks to digital technology, thanks to internet, lot of things are available which are not authentic. How do we find if something is authentic? There are two things. First is does this spiritual teaching which I am reading, it emphasizes on living a life of purity and pure character? If it does not, then something is wrong with it. Second, does it make me unselfish? Because unselfishness is what spirituality should lead to. If it makes you intensely selfish, self-centered, and self-glorifying, then you have not yet attained some spiritual growth. This is a gross level, and okay, you might one day attain that. But right now, you are away from that. And this is what you will see in the lives of great people, uh, great saints or spiritual giants. I would say, particularly in Indian tradition, even outside Indian tradition, there have been mystics, there have been great people. We acknowledge uh, their contribution, and you see, they will all be very self-effacing because they have understood the nature of apparent self. There is an apparent self and there is a real self. The real self is the divinity or the Atman we spoke of. And other self is this passing self, which goes on collecting things. It collects experiences, it collects degrees, it collects all awards. It's okay. In our practical side, we go on collecting these. But all of them, have got kind of uh, their uh, their expiry date. You don't keep them forever. It's okay. Maybe you are very relevant for 20 years. They are very relevant for 30 years. Then something happens, and when suppose we leave this physical body itself, what will our those accumulations remain? They will also go away. So first thing is making a spiritual reading a habit. In that, I would suggest that those who are serious about it, you may read Swami Vivekananda's works. In that, you can take up Jnana Yoga lectures or Karma Yoga. Even to begin with, Karma Yoga is fantastic. Or letters of Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda was an enormous letter writer, fabulous. Till now, we have been able to locate more than 800 of his letters. This is very significant in today's world where we don't write letters. We send emails, we send WhatsApp messages and small short messages. Handwritten letters are very few. Anyway, so Swamiji's letters can be read. The Bhagavad Gita, some shloka can be, but it should be read in a very contemplative way. So this could be a one point of those 5-point program. Another thing which we can focus on is that we should focus on um giving attention to training ourselves at the sensory level. What is meant is that you try to give a training to your senses. We're not saying kill your senses. We don't say kill your eyes or kill your ears, but give them a training. Slowly lead them away from overindulgence or too much of cravings. There's a lot of health issues and mental issues come because we don't train our senses. The senses are there, the 5 senses of ear, eyes, nose, uh, eating, that is mouth or the tongue, smell, skin. All that we need to train a little. We need food. Let us make it a healthy food, and don't be overindulgent. Eat well, but don't be overindulgent. So senses need to be trained. We should follow that principle given in the Kathopanishad, which says, better go by the principle of uh, Shreyas instead of the principle of Preyas. So Shreyas and Preyas. The word Shreyas means that which is beneficial to us, and and Preyas means that which is just pleasant. We know this. Just pleasant means it is going to cause trouble later. So it should be also a point of understanding that I should follow that which is beneficial for me. So this is the second point. The third point we can consider is the point of developing an attitude or a sense of putting others first, which again means that we are more compassionate, more sympathetic, more kind to others. Because all of us are somewhere interrelated. So if we think that we should be kind to others, it ultimately comes back to us. We get what we give. So if we give things which are, I mean, we don't care for others' conveniences, others, what good we can do to them, it'll come back to us. It's just like throwing a ball against the wall. It'll bounce back. So this is where golden principle, putting others first. It could be, we can begin with that. Of course, it could lead to the final thing called uh, being a person who can serve others unselfishly. We begin with that small thing. Let's say you begin with the things like usage of a computer. You use it. Somebody else is also using. So leave it in such a way that people don't find it in bad shape. Or it could be usage of our even public toilets. We're keeping others in mind. Even placing our chappals outside when we go to a temple or a holy place. Put them in such a way that the next person does not have to feel, he doesn't have to jump over them. Put them aside on one side. I think we begin with these small things, and that makes a big difference. And then finally, we try to do something for others. Once a young man came to Swami Vivekananda and he said, Swamiji, I have been meditating, I have been doing a lot of spiritual practices, not getting peace of mind. So Swamiji said, how you have been doing this? He said, I'm doing this by closing my windows, closing the door, and meditating. To which Swamiji replied, my son, if you listen to my words, please open your windows. Please open your door. It's very symbolic actually. And see, try to feel beyond your window of view. There could be some poor man there, some needy person. Try to help him, try to serve him. And you will find peace in that. So this is a very important message that we should look beyond our place of living. We can go and see it in our own way. Uh, you don't require to have a very big organization to. If you ask somebody why not to do some good work to others, immediately say, "Oh, I don't have time, I don't have money." But actually, it's not so. If you carefully see, it's all our mind's perceptions. We can begin even in small ways. You can begin with just this much that I wish good to all. I pray for the good of all. That's how we can begin our journey of unselfishness. Every day I pray for the well-being of everyone. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu nira. Then slowly it will lead to developing a way, an attitude towards doing service to others. And in our country we need it a lot. Swami Vivekananda said further, he said that this is the age of man, M capital, where a man has to do a lot for man. Man has to do a lot. We need to be very aware of this. So this is the third point. The first point, as I said, spiritual reading. Second is training the senses. Third is putting others first. The fourth is cultivating a spiritual company, satsang. Now, what we are doing right now is a kind of a satsang. We are all, listening to a talk which is dealing with some deeper truths of life. So uh, we can have satsang on a regular basis. You can have an online reading sessions together, for instance, once in a week, maybe two friends or four friends or five friends meet up and say, let us read the letters of Swamiji. It will become our spiritual reading also and satsang also. Other than the personal reading, I also I can listen to some lecture, I can listen to some bhajan together. I should have some satsang. See, satsang is what creates the right mind. We are what our company makes us. If a person keeps a bad company, a person with another person whose line of thinking is very selfish and is very gross, etc., it will have a silent effect on your mind. So you have to be very careful about your company. So cultivating a spiritual companionship and avoiding that which is not in favor of this is very important. So this is another point for cultivating spirituality in our day-to-day life. Sri Ramakrishna used to emphasize on satsang very much. So satsang, uh, we once had in the Indian Institute of Sciences under the Vivekananda Study Circle there, we had a satsang sandhya, bhajan sandhya, so a satsang sandhya, where I had gone there and we met up some 15, 20 of them. So we had some chanting of Vedic verses, and we had some other things like somebody sang a bhajan, then we read, then we had a guided meditation. All that was very satisfying. At the end, of course, somebody had prepared some prasad also, so that we end up with something sweet. So spiritual companionship is very helpful, and I think thanks to the digital availability now, online satsangs can definitely be had in the midst of all our research and deadlines and assignments. And physically, if you go and meet up, what they call as offline, is also very, very helpful. It has its own impact. It has when you see somebody, you interact with him, because in camera you are listening to only he is visible, but there you have more things available. So satsang is not just sitting up and discussing any subject. You have some holy subject you can take up and analyze, ask questions. We encourage questionings. It's not that you should not ask questions. So that's how satsang becomes meaningful. And the last one, the last point which I referred to, the 5 point for the cultivating spirituality in student life. The last one actually could be even the first one is a regular practice of meditation. You see, we all have to understand life's polarity of experiences, good, bad, pleasant, unpleasant, success, failure, praise, criticism, etc. So if we have that polarity, we'll see we all pass through difficult times, every one of us. And we also know the impermanence of the life itself. So there could be frustration, there could be depression, there could be people suffering from loneliness. All that can be overcome if we can detach ourselves from the world and also discover our own divine connection or divinity. So somewhere we are connected with the world. That is why we are depressed. Suppose you are connected with the divinity within, how can you be depressed? Because the divinity is of the nature of peace, nature of joy. And if you're connected with that, where is the question of any negative feeling? So it is a positive feeling will come when you think of the divinity within. So, you know, in today's world, depression is becoming quite an important subject for discussion. Sometimes it becomes very difficult to overcome when people go to a psychologist and maybe take some antidepressant. And that should be avoided. But then, if it is there is no other way one can consume them under the expert guide. But we have to. That's not the solution actually. We need a proper counseling and a proper coming out. It happens through positive thinking. So in that, meditation plays a very important role. So meditation means also it will develop a deep sense of concentration. The concentration is something we all require, particularly for our studies we require. So suppose every day we get a 15 minutes we keep it, particularly as you start your day. Generally, many people don't start their day early. They start late. So even if you are starting late, preferably you bring some change and make it little early. You don't have to get up at 4 o'clock, which is not practical. But you can definitely make it 6:30 or even little earlier, so that you can get some 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then learn to meditate. So these meditation sessions are at our personal level very helpful, very helpful. In some of these online sessions, we do online guided meditation sessions also. So they are very helpful in the sense we learn to calm our mind, we learn to withdraw the mind, and focus it on something higher. So our mind is whatever it focuses on, that slowly it absorbs, and it becomes very, you know, very much imbued with those qualities. These days, lot of scientific researches have been done where they have found that meditation, how it helps in many other ways also. So that's one part. And you can also repeat some sacred syllable, some mantra. With, that also the Gayatri mantra is there, or name of the Lord, Shiva, Rama, Sri Krishna, anyone. That also will have its impact on the mind. So then we can, with say 15 minutes of everyday meditation, it will refresh the mind. Then we can face our life in a much better way. Suppose you are uh, going to play in a football match. It's not that today is a football match and I just go and start playing it. I will have to practice quite a bit, build up my stamina. So meditation is like building up that stamina. So every day, without interruption, I find some 15 minutes, but preferably in the morning. If I can't do it in the morning, at least do in the evening or just before going to bed. Sit for quiet time. Just observe yourself. Detach yourself from yourself. So we are seeing a film. In that film, we are the hero. We are the hero. We are playing the lead role. I did this. I went there. This happened to me. I spoke like this. I reacted like this. I is there. So if you try to develop a little detachment from your own I, and also try to visualize that there is a divine core within you. You call that divine core by any name, doesn't matter. And try to focus on that, repeat some mantra. Like this, if some 10, 15 minutes, if you repeat, you will surely find it, you are better equipped mentally to face life. So these are the 5 points, 5 point program, which I would uh, say is the practical way of looking at bringing spirituality in our student life. So I'll just repeat their headlines, and then I will close and open the session to questions. So the spiritual reading of authentic books, point number one. Point number two, training the senses, avoiding too much of overconsumption indulgence. 3, putting others first, developing the virtue of unselfishness and compassion. 4, cultivating spiritual company, satsang, at a regular interval. And 5th, practice of meditation, repetition of a sacred mantra on again on a daily basis. I think these 5 things should help us to cultivate. Yes, thank you. Uh, Help us to cultivate our spiritual or place the spirituality on a firm footing it in our life. So thank you very much. I said what I wanted to say. Now, if you have any questions, you're open.
Yeah, I'll request audience to ask Swamiji any questions. You can unmute yourself. Uh,
Maharaj, I have one question that how religion and the spirituality is connected.
Good, very nice. I was also thinking to refer to this. I'm glad that you have now raised it. So, religion and spirituality. So, religion is a larger word which includes rituals, festivals, vows, temples, numerous practices, and all of them have their some role to play. Some of them will be archaic, some things may not be required. But spirituality is referring to man's desire or his search for peace and attaining it. That's also very important. It doesn't only searches for it; he also attains it. So, in one way, we can say you can take the example of a coconut. So, coconut has got a shell, a hard shell, and a softer thing inside. So, many of these religious things are like that hard shell outside. So, we need to have a society, we need to have an ambience where you can practice your spiritual things. So, we begin with that. At the religious level, sometimes there'll be quarrels also. Sharp differences will be there. But when it comes to spiritual thing, actually people will find, because we are speaking of virtues, and virtues are universal. Um, you know, it is like this. Uh, Sri Ramkrishna used to say, "We have heard of jackals." So he would say, "Jackals of all countries will make similar sound." So what it means is, if a person has got some genuine experience, he will, whatever be his language, he will say the same thing. See, in our own culture, you see what Kabir Das ji says, or what Ram Prasad ji says. Kabir Das is in the North Indian belt, and Ram Prasad ji or Ram Prasad Saini is in Bengal, 200 years apart or 300 years apart. Many of the things will be similar. Or what Sri Ramakrishna says, or what Sri Krishna says, many things will be similar. So spirituality is more at that level. But in religion, for various reasons, there are also some doctrines. And then temples, some people say, oh, what's the need for temples? Temples have got their own place. But too much of it, anything is also to be avoided. Say, for instance, um, in his famous Raj Yoga lectures, Swami Vivekananda has mentioned another side of temples. He says, when many people join together and they pray regularly at a place, that place develops an atmosphere of divinity, of purity. We call it tanmatras in Sanskrit. Tanmatras. Or you take somebody, you go to a place where people think a lot of evil thoughts. Maybe they indulge in all kinds of unwanted things there. That develops another kind of tanmatras. So Swamiji says that when you go to a place of pilgrimage, a place of worship, which has been very actively doing these things, there you will find your mind is actually elevated to a different place, different plane. So that way it may help. That way it may help. So simple thing is spirituality means dealing with the introspection, developing those qualities. I look within. Say in our day-to-day life also, we find these things that we every day need to sit and ask, how is my life going on? What did I say? Could I have said it better? How did I react? Could I have done something better? So I can examine myself, examine my thoughts, examine my words, and I can become a better person. So this introspection thing is very much part of spirituality. So this, in short, we could say about it. Now we have Mr. Satish saying something. Kindly say that.
Pranam Swamiji, thanks for your enlightening talk. I am a professor in Bangalore College, one of the college. I run Vivekananda Study Center from past 2.5 years. My problem is like how to make spirituality or Vedanta even more practical. So I struggled getting students to attend our sessions. Even though we have a strength of 2,500, I hardly get 25, 30 students to attend our sessions. So even how it can be dealt
I
also.
feel that the number of people coming to your place, we should not focus too much on the number because always very sincere people go for these things. And there was a famous historian, I think Philip Toynbee. So he made a statement long ago that whenever change happens, it happens through a small creative minority. So if even if 5 people are convinced, 20 people are is a big number. Even when the Bhagavad Gita was given, only one person was present. Arjuna was present. So let's be very confident. Let's not look for very big number, but we should add quality to that. At the same time, um, you can have some instructional lectures, some motivational lectures under your platform.
Yes,
Uh,
Swamiji, I am with contact with our local Ramkrishna Mission Bangalore. Swami Anilyananda is guiding us. So that is what, but our management and all say, oh, such a small number of people, what is this? You're not efficient or what, like that. This is the
now
some kind of practical problem.
they should not try to apply what is done in a factory to a spiritual. So in
Mass,
factory we have a
mass.
large mass production. It's not the mass
Yes.
production that matters. Anyway, that's left to their understanding, their willingness to understand. That pressure I can understand, administrative pressure. But I think we can always continue. For instance, you can also add some online sessions to your whatever sessions you conduct.
Okay,
So as you are
Swami.
conducting, along with that, those who cannot physically come, because sometimes students also have got their problem. They want, some of them are interested. At the same time, they have some other thing to do. So that's also one of the reasons. We have one medical college here in the city of Kanpur. So we had a beautiful lecture session there, but after some time we wanted to have another one, but some people did not like it. They did not encourage it. So the students themselves formed a group. He said, "Why not we have a online session?" Because they are interested in that. So I think like this, we'll have to make efforts. The famous story of
Okay.
or the poem of Rabindranath Tagore comes to mind, where he said it's about a lamp. So lamp is burning in dark. He said, I'm not afraid of darkness. At least I'm spreading some light around me. Uh, so that's how we
Yes.
can begin. And many of the students, they are very much enamored by Western things.
Yes.
But if you have to see in the West we have many good things. Say civilizational things are many good things are there. Swamiji said we can learn a lot from them. But in many things they are lagging behind. So if this can be driven home to many of the students, they can also they will learn towards lean towards spirituality.
Thank you so much. Pranams.
Any other we have?
Namaste, Swamiji.
Sir,
Yeah.
Swami,
Please tell your name.
my name is Siddhi. I am pursuing PhD in IIT Bombay. Sir, Swamiji, many a times things doesn't go the way we want, the way I want, like, uh, and at a time we have to deal with many tracks day to day on the day to day basis, and in that also many a times like 10% only happens the way we want. Then how to, so the control, so it is sure that we cannot control that situation. Then how to maintain the calmness of mind, as well as study in proper position and with that much concentration. Can you please guide us?
Uh, it's a very practical problem that you have said. Uh, almost this is universally felt. One thing is that the famous serenity prayer. The serenity prayer is like this. It says that, "Oh Lord, let me change what I can change, and let me accept what I cannot change, and may I have the wisdom to know the difference between these two. So certain things I can change. Let me find out I can change. Somebody's camera is it your camera?